Aseo, Ryan Walters, back in the K-League United Bunker, now officially back to K-League, part of the United Bunker. I'm here with Paul Neat and Matthew Binns, as always, and we just wrapped up talking about the World Cup. Unfortunately, we're done talking about that for Korea for this year, but with the group stage being done, that means that we're back to K-League.
Yeah, it's kind of ironic or coincidental that the Korea went out of the World Cup as the K2 is starting back up again.
Yeah.
So if you are upset that Korea are out of the World Cup, of course we all are, but the K-League is back, so...
Live football is back
Yeah,
tonight.
Lovely pick-me-up after that.
Yeah. I think... I'm really ready for this. I think the World Cup's been a lot of fun, and it's always a lot of fun to go and watch all these games, to go to the bar, to experience the different cultures watching at the bar. But there's nothing like being in the stadium, and it's been way too long.
I mean, you have another team to back as well, in all fairness. Not going to let it go.
No, we have two teams to back.
It's coming
now. It's coming home.
Anyway.
Hashtag it's coming home.
Well, there's some technical issues here in the studio, and as it turns out, that's all the time we have today. So thank you, USA, for not qualifying for the World Cup. But we're not talking about the World Cup because football is back here in Korea. Live games tonight. Speaking of tonight, we are going to wrap this up, and the two of us are going to hop in the cab line or somehow get over to Jomshill because we are watching what some are calling the superior match.
It is.
Suwon versus Seoul in the second division. We've got Seoul Eland hosting Suwon FC. Season ticket holding Suwon FC, Matthew Binns
Don't
here.
tell everyone my dirty secret.
I think this should be a fun one tonight, but we'll talk more about that because we're still not done making videos yet today. We're going to do another one live from the stadium there tonight.
Yeah, we'll be...
Will be 4 on a day.
It'll be 4, yeah.
Plus the Twitter 1.5 times. That's got to be a record.
Yeah. So hopefully, if you're sitting at home sick and just wanting to do nothing but talk about Korean football today,
well, if it's raining, get yourself a beverage.
Right? Yeah.
Get yourself comfortable.
Yeah. So that's coming up later tonight. Yeah, really giddy that everything's back. But as far as us today, what we're going to be doing... Oh, not that yet. No, not yet. We'll come back to that. We're going to be going through all 10 K2 teams, talking about where they are at about the halfway point. We're at about the halfway point of the K2 season, but with the World Cup break, it seems like a good time to talk about these things. And speaking about it being at about the halfway point, now we can talk about this mess, which is hard to see on the video, luckily for us. Luckily for us, because this is our preseason K2 table prediction. Paul, you want to go ahead and run down your table in reverse order there?
Oh, I can do, yes. I said it would be Ansan Green is at the foot of the table. They are 5th.
Oh, well, I'll run down the full table after. Just 10th through 1st, who you got?
10th to 1st. Ansan, Seoul, Ilan, Daejeon, Anyang, Gwangju, Bucheon, Asan, Songnam, Busan, Suwon.
Matt?
Starting from 10, Ansan Greeners, Daejeon Citizen, Seoul Eland, FC Anyang, Gwangju FC, Bucheon 1995, Busan I Park, Songnam FC, Asan Mugunghwa, and leading that table, Suwon FC.
Yeah.
Obviously we've all got some of them quite badly wrong.
Yeah, I happen to have your Daejeon Citizen in last. Ansan, who we all got very wrong. So I've got Daejeon, Ansan, Eland, Anyang, Bucheon, Gwangju. Thanks for helping me out there, guys. Songnam, Busan. I had Suwon in second, and top of the table, looking good with Asan Mugunghwa.
Right, fair play to you on that one. Ones that I wasn't too far away with. You got Busan, 4th. I said 2nd. Songnam, 2nd. I said 3rd.
Yeah, so to run down the table,
we're not doing too bad.
We're not doing terribly.
I think Bucheon a 3rd, I said 5th. Gwangju was 7th, I said they were going to be 6th. So I've not been that bad. Just in the middle of the table, I've been okay. At the other ends, not quite so good.
Yeah, there may have been a few teams that messed things up.
But may I just say that I predicted that Daejeon would be in 8th, and they are poised for a push at the playoffs in 6th.
Yeah.
So I'm obviously delighted, hence why I've got the shirt on.
It's in the colors. Yeah, so where the table actually is right now is Anyang Suwon FC defying all of our preseason predictions in 9th, Seoul Eland, Gwangju FC, Daejeon Citizen, Ansan Greeners, Busan iPark, Bucheon 1995, Sungnam, and top of the table, as some may have predicted, Asan Magunghwa. But we're talking about the table so much because that's how we're going to run down these K2 teams. We're going to start at the foot of the table and we're going to work our way up. We are putting ourselves on the clock with 2 minutes each to talk about these teams, where they are at the halfway point, and we're going to be going over how they got here, why they are where they are on the table, their key player, the biggest question facing this team, and the transfer window, as we've alluded to earlier today, opens up on Tuesday. Monday on the 2nd. So that opens up soon. So some needs or some wish lists there, and then finally a reason to watch each of these teams. So we did all right with our preseason predictions. So we'll see. We're not gonna predict the final table today.
I don't think we'll be allowed.
No.
Well, this could still be the final table.
Yeah, this could. Yeah, I'm sticking to it. This is the final table. Sorry, your boys are due for a plunge.
No, we're not.
Yeah.
The boys are ready for the playoffs.
Yep. That's how it's going to go. Anyway, so we're going to spend 2 minutes on each team. If you have any questions, comments, reactions, anything like that for your club or any other K2 clubs, get those in. But we are getting started at the bottom of the table with 2 wins, 5 draws, and 9 losses. FC Anyang, and Paul's going to take that.
I am. They are where they are because they are basically a whole new staff. 1 or 2 coaches have remained with Anyang, most notably Michael Kim, who was there last year. But it's a new manager who's it's his debut as a manager, and they've tried to sort of build a whole new squad from scratch, and it's taking them time to settle in. They did get a few results towards the end of the season. Before the break, they were just 1 defeat in 5, and I think they might have been a bit upset that the season was coming to a bit of a close because they were finally getting some momentum there. And then again, I think there's been a little bit of lack of leadership. They, in games, for example, like the Songnam game is a prime example, they were winning 2-1 with not long to go. They ended up losing 3-2. Songnam were a good team, and they're one of the favourites to go up. They are second, but if you're leading the game and you're heading into it in the final 10 minutes, you need to be able to see games out. Key player. Now, if you recall our pre-season video, I said that Michael Kim had said that there are no key players in the Anyang team, not because of the lack of quality, but because everybody is as important as each other. Now, whilst I admire that and I agree to a certain extent, in my opinion, the key player is goalkeeper and captain John Soo-hyun. He is desperate to succeed because he was at Daejeon last year, had an awful year for the club. He himself played all right at the second time, but he cried after this win against Gwangju, dramatic win. They need those kind of players in there. Biggest question: can they reignite their season after the kind of good end that they had? They need a striker who's going to score goals for them. They've still got 1 Asian foreign spot left. They should just try and explore that. Reason to watch: they are a city not quite far outside of Seoul, easy to get to, and also because they try hard with their social media. They're trying.
That's true, and they have lovely kits.
Their kits are always good. That one's from a few years ago, and it's very good. Last year's was probably the best. This year's is very nice.
They're always nice. More purple teams. All right, moving up the table. Surprisingly, in 9th place, Matthew Binns is going to be talking about the team with 5 wins, 1 draw, and 10 losses, Suwon FC.
Yeah, as you just said, it's very surprising to find Suwon this low in the table given their pre-season spending and our pre-season predictions. They have the most losses in the league, they are the lowest scorers in the league, and are yet to find the net twice in any match in this league. They are a far cry away from where we thought they would be. They've suffered injuries though. Kim Da-sol, the keeper, was injured for a small spell. Kim Dong-chan was been out for quite an extended spell, who was supposed to be scoring these goals. Leia was also out for a spell, and Matthias Alves was also out, who had been brought in to score those goals. He's now left, we'll get to that soon. They've rarely had everyone available to them, which has been one of the main problems. The other one has been an inexperienced manager, which is causing a few protests, but we'll again get to that very soon. Key player Adrian Leia, though. Adrian Leia when he's in the team, this team looks very assured at the back. And granted, he won't solve their goal drought, but he keeps that back line in shape. He keeps them in check, and when clean sheets are vital. When the margins are so narrow, if you're not going to score at the other end, you've got to keep the goals out at the back. His leadership is notable though, and this comes back to the manager. Kim Dae-hee has come under a lot of pressure with protests at the last 2 home games from Suwon FC fans for him to leave. Each time Adrian Leia has come over personally to the fans telling them to take the banner down, and there seems to be a lot of support from the players for this manager, which is always a good sign that the manager is doing something right, but it's just not appearing on the pitch. So yeah, more of his leadership, please. Biggest question is, where are the goals going to come from, though? And this brings me on to the transfer wish list. They need a goal scorer. Alves has left now, but he haven't lit up the goal scoring charts either for this team, but nobody has. They've brought in Jang Song-jae, who is a forward from Ulsan, 22 years old. They've also brought Lee Sang-min in from Suwon Blue Wings on loan, but he is a defender. And they've brought back Kim Yong-hyun from Gyeongnam. Yes.
Go over why should we watch them? Because we're going to watch them tonight, so why should people watch them this year?
You should watch them because they're one of the most family-friendly clubs in the league, and it's a really nice day out. Lots of things for the kids, lots of things for the family. Free ice cream, free ramyeon. It's a good day out.
Yeah. Well, and speaking of teams that we're going to be watching tonight, another team that we're watching tonight is Seoul Eland, and they are in 8th place with 4 wins, 4 draws, and 6 losses, and Paul's going to take us through them.
They are where they are through a lack of consistency. They find it hard to string together a run of results. Their last 6 games is win, loss, win, loss, win, loss, win, loss, and it's really been quite strange because they have proven they can beat the big teams or bigger teams, then they'll lose to the so-called weaker teams. So they are there through a lack of consistency. Key player now, our very own Michael Redmond, or Big Michael, depending on what time of day it is. He said that it's Kim Yong-gwan who is their key player. Whilst I do agree, he is very influential. Cho Jae-wan, their 22-year-old forward, he has 5 goals from only 8 starts. He's made about 12 appearances, but 8 starts. That's very, very good for a first-year pro. So if they can get him in the right areas, then they might be able to try and climb their way up the table. Biggest question: can they find consistency and be tougher to beat? They have shown that they can beat big teams, like I said earlier, and they brought in Ivan Herzeg. Now he's going to be able to help stop them conceding goals. Can they do that? Can they start keeping clean sheets? Needs, well, they've moved quite quick in the transfer window. They brought in a striker, Ignacio, I believe, and he obviously depends when you bring in foreign players. Are they going to adapt? Daniel Febles didn't. He's been let go. Yeah. But I would say a centre back, an attacking midfield player, and a striker, a spine of a team. Reason to watch? Well, they're a K-League team in Seoul, and if you're in and around the Seoul capital area and you are averse to the other Seoul team, which many are, then go to Eland. Damson's always a good day out, and I say it is every time, but it is. And they're unpredictable, which means that it's never boring.
Yeah.
It's never boring going to watch an Eland game.
No, you really never know what you're going to get out of an Eland game. Never. Sometimes it's not going to be what you want, but sometimes you get a 6-goal thriller like we did last year when it was Monday night and we went to watch Daejeon Eland. It was like, oh, sure, we'll go, and it was amazing.
And there was like 2 or 3 goals in the last 5 minutes.
Yeah.
It was
all sorts of fun. So hoping for more of that tonight. But moving along through the table here, we are up into 7th place with the team that was in the top division last year. They have 5 wins, 4 draws, and 6 losses. Matt's going to take us through Gwangju FC.
Well, they had an incredibly slow start, slower than my Suwon FC run down a moment ago, to be honest. They finally won in their 7th game versus Busan, and they went unbeaten through most of April, which saw them catch up and head into the mid-table territory. They've since been doing okay, but before the break they lost 3 in their last 5, but winning the other 2 to suggest that old habits are creeping back in with their inconsistency. They have the second stingiest defence in the league, though, which is helping them offset their lack of goals. The goal scoring record is underwhelming, and it looks a little less impressive when you consider the 15 goals they scored, 5 of them were against Suwon FC. Key player is Na Sang-ho. He's a forward, he's only 21, which is great for the youth in the K-League. He's played a handful of games in the K1 last year, but this year he's a regular and 7 goals to his name already. Biggest question is how bad was the damage when they went down? And it seems substantial, but the rebuild is on. They seem to be finally getting their feet in, could clamber up the league a bit further. Transfer wish list, more firepower. Nasango is great, but he needs more choice. If he gets injured, they could be in trouble. As predicted, Gil, the Brazilian striker that they brought in, who had scored 9 goals for Gangwon in 2015, has not scored any, and still not scored since 2015 in any league at any club. The reason to watch, though, is they're not the same Gwangju as last year. There's actually hope now. But seriously, they are building a team there. It's a good team, and promotion is probably not on the cards this season, but they could build, and next season they should be contending for playoffs. I've done that incredibly fast there, making up for last time.
Can I help you a little bit?
Yeah,
Nasanghol broke my heart. He scored the winner against Daejeon in the 90-something minute. I was at that game in Daejeon, and I had to leave early to go get my train back. And when I left the area with the field, it was 1-0 to Daejeon because they scored it in the 86th minute. Then when I got in the elevator, the lift, to take my press pass back to the front desk, I heard a roar, and I checked my phone. It was 1-1. Then I got out the stadium and I put the game on my phone whilst I was walking to the subway station, and then he scored a last-minute winner, and it was an absolute pearler, by the way, half volley on the turn. He broke my heart, but he's a good player, and you're right, 7 goals for a man who's only 21. That's phenomenal.
Had a struggling team as well, so watch out for him in the future.
Absolutely.
This is why you don't leave the game early, kids.
I have to get a train back to Seoul.
Can't do it.
On Sunday.
Well, fair enough. Speaking of the other club in that match, up next, surprisingly far up the table in 6th place, 6 wins, 2 draws, and 7 losses for Daejeon Citizen.
They are 6th, and I see this as a very positive step forward from last season because they had an absolutely disastrous season. They're in 6th because they finally got players in the final third who have quality. They have Park In-hyuk that they got from Hoffenheim, Shoru Garayev, the Uzbek attacking midfielder, and Aurelian Chitu, if you look at his Hangul name, spelled Chitu in English, I suppose. Those 3 have kind of transformed Daejeon. They were so lackluster and pedestrian last season in the final third. Now they've got a fluid front 3 and it's really working. An Sang-hyun has got a bit of experience to marshal the back 4. He sits in that defensive midfield role. They've got a good team and they've got a good balance of experience and youth. They've been smart in the sense that they've signed some good players from university teams, like Park Soo-il and Kim Sung-sup. Key player is Shoru Garayev. He, as I said, is the Uzbeki attacking midfield player. He is the top scorer with 5, but he adds much more than just goals. He's got good movement, can pick out a pass, and he seems to have forged a good relationship with Kichu and Park In-hyuk. Biggest question is, can they build on what they've achieved so far? They've probably surpassed many people's expectations by being in 6th. Not mine. I think that last season was a blip, and it was just because they had a manager who didn't really know what he was doing. Now Ko Jong-soo is settling into life as a manager. He's settled on a team and a system. Can they build on it? That's the biggest question. Needs and transfer wish list. Nothing, really. Actually, I'm quite happy with the team that they've got there. They need to clear the decks a bit because they have a huge squad with some players that clearly aren't going to get game time. They do have 1 foreigner spot left. They might look at that with somebody.
Yeah. 1 word: reason to watch.
Reason to watch because they are the best team in Korea. No, because they after last season and the made progress this year. They are a team on the up, and it's going to be interesting because that top 4, 5, 6 is so tight, and they've got a good chance of getting in the top 4. Who knows whether they will do it or not. That's why you should watch to find out.
Yeah. Speaking of teams that might have a chance at the top 4, that's a little bit surprising. Moving on to the Ansan Greeners, they are in 5th place with 6 wins, 5 draws, and 5 losses. And they got here because of a strong defense. In 17 games, they have only allowed they've only allowed 17 goals in 16 games, and they've kept 4 clean sheets. The clean sheets, it's not the best in the world, but it's been much, much better than last year. They also have a really strong center back pairing back there with Park Jun-hee and Shin Il-soo. They've been a large part of what's going on, and oddly enough, there's a goalkeeper battle that's working really well for the Greeners this year. It's been Lee Hee-sung and Hwang Sung-min. They've been going back and forth, and both of them, according to our own James Walsh, also of the Ansan Foreign Supporters, he sent this along saying that they've both looked good in the time that he's seen them. So everything's really working quite well at the back for Ansan right now. But surprisingly, none of those were pegged as the key players by James. He was saying that their attacking winger, Che Ho-ju, he's the top goal scorer. He's got 4 for them, which again isn't really lighting the world on fire, but he's been really quick moving forward, and he's been really good on goal. Also, Lee Gyun has had a fine season with 3 goals, so he's not too much further down there. And he's playing more as an attacking wingback, which we're seeing a lot of in Korean football right now, so getting in on that overlap. And I've got 40 seconds left, so we're going to get into the biggest question, which for me is, can they make the playoffs? This is a very surprising team that they're up this far. Can they improve their away form to get into the playoffs? Because that's what's been hindering them so far. Transfer wish list, they need a striker. They need a striker desperately. Sekou Kane's been all right. He came over from the 3rd division in the United States, the USL. Raul also hasn't been as good as he was last year, coming back from injury, so it's a little understandable there, but they need someone to go out and score some goals. Reason to watch, they're a plucky underdog. What's not fun about watching a plucky underdog? Nobody expected the Greeners, I still can't say that name seriously, no one expected the Greeners to be that great, but they are a lot of fun to watch.
Oh, wow. Too good.
That's how it should be done, really.
Hollywood ending.
How you do it. Speaking of teams that are fun to watch, we're just going to keep it rolling. But actually, before we do, I saw a few questions came in.
Mainly just comments. We've got our Michael Redmond, who'll be joining us tonight.
You'll see him soon.
If it's tonight, it'll be Big Michael.
Well, that's what we're also going to get to as well. So Michael says it's time for the real competition to start again, and he also says Big Michael after dark. Kim Hosu is also very happy the K-League is back.
Yeah.
Che Jae-min wanting Suwon FC back in the K-League 1.
Oh.
And Keith Moran also coming in saying keep up with the good work, lads. So thank you, Keith.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, let's just keep it rolling then.
Yes.
Moving up the table into 4th place with 6 wins, 7 draws, and only 3 losses. Busan I Park, and Paul is going to take us through them.
Yes, they are in this position, which I say has been a good position, because they've been quite shrewd. They've signed some experienced pros like Kim Chi-yu from FC Seoul. They've also kind of promoted some of their younger players, so like Lee Dong-jun. He's a quick sort of wing forward. But on the other side of the coin, they are there because they've drawn 7, like you emphasised there. They haven't been able to turn those draws into wins. That's why they're not at the top like many might have expected. Their key player for me is Romelu, the Brazilian midfield player. He has got bags of technique. He sits deep and can pull the strings, and he's also very good from dead balls, as we saw in the run-up to the playoffs last year. Biggest question is they've got rid of the 2 Brazilian lads there, Jonathan Balotelli and I can't even say his name. Alamiao, maybe.
Sure.
They have left because they were rather uninspiring, but they brought in these 2 Dutch players from the 2nd division in the Netherlands, Arsenio Valpoort and Sergio McDonald. And I was speaking to a Dutch journalist, and he says that they are going to score goals and they're quick. So that might be good. The biggest question is, can they utilise those 2 players and turn those draws into wins? Transfer wish list, well, they've already been quite busy, as I just said. Those 2 players that I mentioned have got good pedigree, and I think other than those 2 forwards, they should be okay. A reason to watch, I've got a lot of time left here. Reason to watch is because they are poised in the sense that they are in a good position to get into the playoffs. But this team, this is a big club, Busan I Park. They are backed by a huge company. They do not want to be languishing in the K2 for much longer. Now, they need to get promoted this season. It's going to be tough, but we'll see.
Sergio McDonald, the 2nd former Chicago Fire player, making his way over to K2 this year. So, interesting to watch there for the huge overlap of Chicago Fire and K-League fans. I know how many of us there are. Dozens. Anyway, moving up the table into third place, where some people, I won't say who, were a little surprised, with 8 wins, 2 draws, and 6 losses. It's Bucheon 1995. And they got here by doing what they've done year after year somehow and turning a largely turned over roster into a strong squad yet again. The key player for them doing that has been Brazilian William Pop, who we know well from his time with Busan I Park. He scored 7 goals this year in 15 appearances, and he is a delightful poacher. He knows where to be at all times. He's very strong in front of the net. He scored 18 goals last time we saw him here in Korea. He did that for Busan then, and he looks like he's going to be doing something similar for Bucheon this year. He is also tied for 4th on the team with minutes. He's got about 1,200 minutes logged now, which is more than he did over in J2 last year, but more importantly, it proves that he's going to be a little bit durable this year, and Bucheon needs someone to be that durable for them this year. The biggest question for them is, can they find consistency? This is a team that came out with a 5-game winning streak, looked unbeatable. We saw them very early at Daejeon, and they were quite strong then. They then promptly followed that up with a 4-game losing streak. And since then, it's been pretty much a roller coaster of a season. They've been able to stay at the top of the table, but they haven't been anywhere near consistent. So, which leads into the transfer wish list for them. Ooh, doing better this time. They have the K2's 3rd worst defensive record with 21 goals against. So you've got to figure that they're going to be going out and getting some defensive help, which they apparently have already done. We've seen social media posts of very briefly former Suwon Blue Wing Kristovam in a Bucheon shirt. I don't know how much he's going to help them defensively, though, because he's a much more attack-minded winger, so they still will want to go out and get someone defensively. Reasons to watch them this year: they're usually strong in the FA Cup, but they are already out of the FA Cup this year, so they're finally going to have all of their focus on the K2, and if nothing else, they are building an amazing stadium. Go there and watch that game in that football-specific stadium.
Which is a bit later than what we hoped, but still, hopefully, we'll be here next season. But still, even before that, though, get yourself to the Civic Stadium before they move.
Yeah, tick it off the list.
Yeah,
and they're a fun team on their day. They are a fun team on their day. They give up a lot of goals and they score quite a few goals, so they are fun to watch. Catching the breath for a minute, because up next I'm up again with the team that is in 2nd place with 8 wins, 5 draws, and 3 losses. The 7-time K1 champions, Songnam FC. They got here by going 12 matches unbeaten to start the season. That'll get you near the top of the table most of the time. After a rather disappointing 2017, they started this year on fire, and it really looked like they were just going to run away with the league, a la certain teams in K1. They did manage to get 5 wins in a row during that unbeaten streak, so it wasn't one of those kind of soft unbeaten streaks, if you will. They had a lot of wins in there. They then picked up their first loss against Ansan Greeners and have yet to win back-to-back games since. So it'll be interesting to see how they can do that moving forward. The key player for them, speaking of Jeonbuk again, Eder, the Brazilian, has had a strong year for them. He's not going to be in contention for MVP, but he has been that goal-scoring threat that they've needed, that additional goal-scoring threat moving forward that they really just didn't have last year. He's only got 4 goals so far, but I would expect a little bit more from him in the second half of the season. And also, a key player that we talked about during our World Cup show, Yoon Young-sun, is going to be coming back. He's going to really help out that back line. He's only been with them for a brief while this year because he had a very strange military stint. Most players come back in September. He came back in May, had a few games with them, looked strong. He went away and the team started to slide. Obviously, it's more than just one player, but I think him coming back and shielding whoever's in net behind him, usually it's been Kim Kun-bae that's in that spot, but next year Kim Dong-jun's going to be back.
If they keep hold of him.
If they can keep hold of him, which you'd think that injury will help keep him around. So the biggest question for them is, can they get back to their winning ways? Again, they started out really hot, but haven't been able to do it lately. Transfer wish list, it's going to depend on what Maren Orsulic does. If they get him back, that's like a signing. If they don't, then I would expect them to do something with that +1 that they've got. Maybe go into the Southeast Asian market and get a cheap player that can help with a little bit for marketing for a citizen-owned club. Reason to watch, because they're winning games. Why? They're winning a lot of games. And speaking of stadiums, if you haven't seen the giant smoking eyes Magpie in person, You should probably
pretty
do
impressive.
that. You should probably go do
Actually,
it.
yeah. Generally, the facelift that they've given to Tanchan is it does look good.
Yeah.
The club shop's very good as
Yep.
well. Yeah, it's worth going down to Tanchan.
Yeah, they know what they're doing down there.
Yeah.
All right, and at the top of the table,
Matt always goes last, doesn't he?
somehow he always has the first place team with 9 wins, 3 draws, and 4 losses. It's Asan Magunghwa.
Yeah, the police team are playing a good brand of attacking football, bolstered by a midfield of top flight quality talent undertaking their national service. Hoof hoof is not the sound of this police. To put it oh, look at you love that. There's been no real dips in form yet, and they've taken advantage of
Christ.
Songnam's reasons.
Well, I'm drinking water. All right.
Sorry, continue.
I'm not pausing your clock. I'm not pausing it.
Okay, they've caught Songnam off guard and taken first place recently, but they've been up there and thereabouts all season. Key player, well, let's can only choose one. There's some really good players in this team. Ju Sejong is coming back from he's been at the World Cup. He's coming back from the World Cup to play in K2. Daejeon's Han Kwon is their top scorer with 7 goals, and he actually returns to Daejeon in August.
Very soon, yeah.
Hwang In-bom is playing regularly in his talent. Ko Mu-yeol is looking better. Look at all these names. These are K-League 1 names. You've got Lee Myung-ju from Seoul, or Al Ain, we don't know. And Cho Sung-jun, both of those are in the top 4 assists in the league. And not only that, they've got the goalkeeper with the most clean sheets in the league, Park Hyun-sun from Suwon FC, who's also coming back later this season. Biggest question is, can they get promoted? And I don't just mean this because they're in promotion contention, but I mean actually, can they get promoted? We're still not too sure what happens if you've got 2 military sides in the top flight. And I believe it's still not been decided. We nearly found out at the end of 2016, and then Ansan Mugunghwa became Asan Mugunghwa and disallowed promotion. So we're going to find. Maybe we'll find out this year. Who knows? Also, can they survive August? Once again, military team, police team. There's a pool of players, and as far as I can see, there's not many people coming in. Sangju have announced an intake of players in the summer, but Asan have announced no one. Reason to watch? Need I repeat those key players? That is a heck of a midfield.
I would take that midfield on almost every K1 team.
Reason to watch? They're taking no prisoners.
Oh, thank you.
The technical difficulties are back. Yeah, right. Well done on the puns, gentlemen. Speaking of Asan Mugunghwa, they were the team that
I chose this photograph because of this man in the middle.
Yeah,
Ju Sejong.
Ju Sejong, King Sejong, coming back from the World Cup, and this is the photo that's up for our league-wide preview, which kicks off tonight. Again, K2 is back tonight to give you a full rundown of those matches that are going on tonight. We, of course, are going to Elan versus Suwon, Bucheon versus Songnam, which is, I think, we're going to try to have that on the computer while we're at the game, because that's going to be a fun one. And also, Anyang and Ansan are going to be facing off, and that's a tough one for Ansan because, again, they don't play well on the road, and they're trying to get up the table.
It's the Line 4 derby.
It is the Line 4 derby. And tomorrow we've got Gwangju versus Asan Mugunghwa, and Busan and Daejeon are facing off. So
at the ASEAN, they've switched again to the ASEAN. So if you are going to go to Busan, it's not at the Gudok, it's at the ASEAN. Yeah,
back in that giant stadium. It is massive.
Yes,
it's a beaut, but
it looks nice from the outside, but the view of the pitch. You need binoculars.
It's a little ways away. Yeah, so that's what's going on with K2 this weekend, and gentlemen, I think we managed to do things on time.
We kept it concise for once, didn't we?
We did.
Any more questions that we can?
Yeah, is there anything else that
more
came
time?
in with you?
No, but we've got Tame in also just praising King Sejong.
King Sejong,
yeah. He's.
Can I just talk about that assist, please?
Oh yes, we can.
Obviously, we all know who scored that second goal for Korea against Germany. I mean, it was Son Heung-min, but the man who mugged the best goalkeeper in the world, or one of them, Manuel Neuer, was Ju Sejong.
Cho Hyun-woo was on
Right.
I didn't see Cho Hyun-woo.
He was criminally out of position.
Oh, I like it. Yeah, he picked his pocket and just instinctively turned and pinged that ball.
Oh, I wanted
perfectly weighted
I wanted that to go in.
Yeah, I mean,
I wanted that to go in so badly.
at
I mean,
first,
good for Son to get on the end of it, but
Yeah.
I wanted that to go in.
it looked like it had the legs to get there, but he just didn't even need to look. He just instinctively just pinged it. That's the kind of midfielder that Ju Tae-jong is. He's a great passer of the ball.
Yeah.
Got a good range of passing. Yeah, that's why I chose that photograph, because he's just I love the man. He's fantastic.
But I mean, legitimately, that is the talent that's in K2 this year.
Right,
You know, I think a
exactly.
lot of times it's very tempting to look at a second division and think, it's not going to be anything I want. This team specifically, and again, they're at the top of the table right now, but this is a very tight table right now. So it's not like they're running away with it. And I wrote this down if I'm scrolling back up here. It's only 5 points that separate first from fourth, and only 10 points that separate first from sixth. So it's pretty close, and they're leading the way with some pretty fun football. And with K2, you always get playoffs.
With the K2 this year, we don't have a runaway.
Right.
Not winner, but the team that are leading the table by a distance, like John Bukar in the K1.
Like Gyeongnam last season as well.
Like going on last season. So automatic promotion place is up for grabs still. The playoffs, any team from second to eighth could get in there. Even ninth, really, to be perfectly honest. And it's just you don't know what's going to happen, because any team can beat any team on their day, and it's proven to be entertaining. And I think that there is a little bit of discrimination against any lower division in any country, but don't look past the K2, because we have players in teams that have been to the World Cup and performed admirably for Korea. As you mentioned earlier, the Union Song from Songnam, and then Ju Tae-jong there from Assam Agungwa.
Both crucial in the win over Germany.
Yeah,
Both
exactly.
crucial in the win over Germany. And if you want to go and see them, then you can. Anybody who's in the South Jolla area tomorrow, go to Gwangju and watch this team play. Obviously, he won't be there because he's probably resting, a well-earned rest.
Yeah.
But they'll be back up home, up this way, up the capital area sometime soon.
Yeah.
And Songnam as well. Yeah, get stuff there.
Yeah, so all sorts of truly interesting matches on tonight, and then next week K1 comes back after what feels like 10 million years away.
Do you know what? Can I just say, I was I told this actually the other day, but I was helping our Busan communist Tom Marcantonio with the preview for Daejeon away at Busan. And it was like the first day of school.
Oh yeah.
I just forgot I just forgot how to write. So I was just like, what?
Well, as you've seen with our minutes here as well, I think we're not doing too well with the live.
So
No, it's fine.
But it was good finally to talk about the K-League.
Yeah, I mean, we've joked about it, but I'm in some ways more excited to get K-League back than for the knockout rounds of the World Cup. It might have to do with some of those matches being at 3 a.m. here, as opposed to being able to go and watch in person. But yeah, K-League 2 is back this week. K-League 1 is back next week. All sorts of things. If you enjoyed the World Cup, go out, try it in person. It's even more fun. Or if you want to watch live here in Korea, it's very easy to do on Naver. Or starting next week, K1 is back, and you can watch one match for free anywhere in the world. So,
And we'll have details of what that game is.
yes, very soon. Well, with that, I think we're all still a little shocked that we managed to keep ourselves under a clock. But speaking of being under a clock, we've got to get over to Jamshil from the undisclosed location of the K-League United bunker. We need to get to Jamshil, and this man needs to stay here and do K-League work in the bunker.
The bunk has to be manned at all times.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. We'll be back in a matter of hours from Jamshil previewing the superior match, as we're calling it, because why not, between Suwon FC and hosts Seoul Eland. So we'll see you again very soon. But for now, questions, comments, reactions, get them in the comments below. And yeah, that's it for us.
And that's my cue to say goodbye. Bye-bye.
See ya.